Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett. Oh no, I think I'm about to have another episode.
Hello, everybody. Charlie Jewett here with the Renovating Retirement Podcast, and holy cannoli, I am trying to work my way through Tony Robbins' big, gigantic book on money for the second time. Anybody who's read this book, this is a difficult book to read, not because it's not awesome. It's just long. It's really, really long, and to some degree, it's a little bit hard for me to kind of follow because there's so much content in it. But I'm only on step number 3. Can you believe that? Let me see what page I'm on. I can't even tell. I'm on page 202, I think, out of 1,127 pages on the PDF I'm using, and I'm only on the 3rd step. Part of that's because the second step had nine myths, so it's kind of like 9 steps in step number 2, and step number 3 is a little bit like that as well. It's got kind of 5 different levels of financial dreams. I actually found this section to be really intriguing. Tony's actually saying things in a way that I've not heard before, and I've only really focused on one of these financial dreams, which I don't even know which one it would be, but just sort of continuing your income. But let me tell you kind of my synopsis, or what I think Tony's teaching and how I would say it in my own words, okay? So this is episode 147, Tony Robbins' 7 Steps to Financial Freedom. Step number 3. Now, step number 3, let me find out. Well, let's say how he titles it first, because I like to give you guys the title. Oh my gosh, I have so many things open on my computer. It's ridiculous. And do I even have this open, what I need from him? Maybe not. So I'm going to go to Google Tony Robbins 7 Steps to Financial Freedom. It's much easier to see it online, some sort of a synopsis from, Inc.com or something like that, than it is to dig it out in the book. It's just, there's so much in the book. So let me go to this. I've been using this INC website to see these. Okay, so step number 3, make the game winnable. Okay, and what's happening here, let me read the synopsis from Inc.com first, then I'll jump into my stuff. So it says, this is when you calculate exactly the amount of money you'll need for your financial freedom. Most people create an artificial number that feels impossible to achieve, so they delay starting their savings in retirement. To make these calculations super simple, Robbins provides a companion mobile app. By the way, I've been working inside that mobile app, kind of testing it out for myself. You also look at your spending habits and how you speed up your plan to achieve financial freedom faster, from limiting your daily impulse purchases like coffee and alcohol and food, to reducing your taxes, earning more, relocating and improving your lifestyle. There's lots of ideas here on how to achieve your desired financial outcomes. Now, you may have just heard the podcast with Dominique Molina, where we're starting another podcast, a joint venture between the two of us. Dominique is the best tax planner that I'm aware of in the world, as far as helping people if you have rental properties, Airbnb income, you drive for Uber, you own a traditional business, whatever it is. If you have non-W-2 employee income, meaning you're paid as a 1099 contractor for consulting work, or you collect rent or own a traditional business like a McDonald's or some sort of a, like me, a financial planning firm or something like that. If you're a business owner, a real estate investor, or an accidental entrepreneur, somebody that's earning money through the sharing economy, things like that, Airbnb, Uber, I don't know anybody better on the planet than Dominique to go find $20, $30, $40, $100, $200,000 a year of unnecessary taxes that you're paying, and give you a tax plan to put those back into your life. And then, of course, when you reinvest that, instead of paying the IRS, you pay yourself. Retirement, just becomes incredible. So winning the money game with Dominique Molina and Charlie Jewett is coming out soon. And step number 3 from Tony Robbins happens to be make the game winnable. Well, his point, how do you make the game winnable, is you have to define the goals. Like my, who's basically my stepson, my girlfriend and I aren't married, but he's basically my stepson, is playing volleyball, and in volleyball, the way they're doing it at his high school, game 1 goes to 25, game 2 goes to 25, and game 3, if you're tied, goes to 15. Well, I've played volleyball where we play to 21, or whatever it is. You've got to define the rules, right? Overtime in football, it's like first person to score. I think they just changed it recently where it's different than it used to be. But whatever it is, if you know the rules, the game becomes winnable. So what Tony Robbins is doing in this section, or step number 3 of the 7 Steps to Financial Freedom, is actually quite interesting to me. And part of the point he's making is You need a lot less money than you think you do. And you don't want to set a goal of way more money than you need, because your brain goes, holy cow, that's a lot of money. I can't even do that. It psychs you out and you don't even aim at it. You really do want to define these and get them down to manageable, reasonable, achievable results. He tells a lot of stories about people that think they need billions or 20 million, and he talks them down from owning their own Gulfstream jet and owning their own private island to just renting jets and renting an island every now and then, because you're not going to be there all the time, and shows them how affordable things really are. One of the things I really liked is the way he quantified the difference between billions and millions. Nobody listening to this really needs billions to live the lifestyle of your dreams, I don't think. And he says 1,000,000 seconds. So if you went back 1,000,000 seconds, that would be 12 days ago. If you went back 1,000,000,000 seconds, it would be almost 32 years ago. That's the difference between 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000. 12 days versus 32 years. Most of us do not need billions, so you certainly don't want to be setting your goals to try to save up billions of dollars and things like that. You don't really need it. So here's the 5 different levels of financial dreams that I thought were really helpful. 1 is financial security. 2 is financial vitality. 3 is financial independence. 5 is financial freedom. And 6 is absolute financial freedom. And I think these are original to Tony. I don't think these come from anywhere else. I think he made them up. He's a very smart man. He's made up a lot of things over the years that have helped a ton of people in 100 different countries. Financial security is covering the 5 basic expenses that represent about 65% of most people's expenses. Now, if you reach financial security, it doesn't mean you never have to work again for the rest of your life. It doesn't mean you're set forever and inflation's going to be covered and you have an increasing tax-free income. It doesn't mean that. It means that most of like my kids have financial security because I pay for most everything. They just get to live here for free and, go to school, right? They have a great life. Everything's provided for them, their housing, their food and everything. So listen to these 5 basic expenses and imagine if you had enough money or enough pension income, let's say, guaranteed annuity income or whatever it is, to pay these 5 basic expenses. Your home mortgage for as long as you live, paid forever. You never have to work again to pay for your house. Your utilities for that home, so things like water, gas, cable, stuff like that, paid forever. You never have to work to pay for your phone bill or to keep the lights on. So already, you have a better lifestyle than most of the world. If you have a clean place to live and utilities are paid for, electricity and running water, and you don't have to pay ever out of your pocket for the rest of your life, well, those are the first 2. All of the food your family could ever eat, paid forever. Hey, baby, I like food. Shrimp and steak. Your basic transportation needs, right? Last night I took Uber with my girlfriend to go to a date. We each have a car. Our transportation needs are met, and it's wonderful, but we have to pay for them out of pocket, right? Your basic insurance costs, all of them paid without you ever working another day in your life. That's kind of a luxury, having insurance, either life insurance or health insurance or whatever. But if you had a place to live, electricity and water and all your utilities were paid for, you had all the food you could ever eat, you could get around, your transportation was paid for, and you had insurance on top of that to cover you in case something went wrong, and you didn't have to pay for any of that, that's an awesome life. I mean, I would take that right now. If somebody, if a rich relative died and left me enough money to live like that, I'd be psyched. Financial security is awesome. Now, it's not the end all. It's not the luxury lifestyle dream of all dreams, right? But it's incredible, and it certainly is step number 1 to try to aim at. And one of the things he encourages, which I'll talk about in a little bit, is to just kind of pick 3 of these, not all 5, but pick 3 of these and call it your 3 to thrive. Just kind of aim at trying to reach these 3. Now, what's the next level that we could aim at besides just covering the 5 basics, or 65% of what most people's expenses go to? And that would be financial vitality. And this is why I say I really think he just made this up, and it's kind of original to Tony's brain because of how specific this is. He's like, take half of your current monthly clothing costs. So buying clothes is kind of a luxury. Nobody needs clothes. Your heart's not going to stop if you don't have a new shirt on, right? It's a want. It's awesome. It's important. There's some industries where you really should be dressed nicely and funerals and things like that. You don't really want to show up looking homeless or whatever, but it's really not a need. It's a luxury. He says take half of what it costs you to buy your monthly clothes, half of what it costs you for dining and entertainment costs. Now, that's a big one for me. I love to go out. I love to take out my family. I love to take out my girlfriend, go see movies, go see concerts, go out to eat and things like that. So half of that, half of the cost of your clothes, and half of your current small indulgences or little luxury costs, which is different for everybody. Massages, vacations and things like that. But he's basically saying financial vitality would be when you could pay 65% of all your bills, the five keys, and half of your kind of luxuries or half of your wants, half of the things you do to spoil yourself and make yourself feel good are also covered, and that's his financial vitality number. Now, he does have an application, an app for your phone that helps you walk through this and calculate your numbers. Now, as would be expected at the end, he's pointing you towards his financial planning company, which he's partnered with, Creative Financial. And as I mentioned before, I don't know if Creative is good, bad, or whatever. I trust Tony very much. I think they're probably doing a good job. I think from what I know, what they do is manage money, sort of take risk for you for less cost than the Joker brokers, right? I think they might charge 0.65 or something like that. Tony's a competitor of mine in a sense, but I have no problems in my life with you guys, no problems at all. If you're like, I don't care if the market hasn't beat annuities and life insurance, I have to have it, I'm addicted to it, I'm going to work with Charlie and his team on all my annuities and life insurance, and then I'm going to give Tony Robbins' company my risk money and hope for the best. That wouldn't bother me at all. I don't get paid a penny to do that. I don't work for them, and he's a competitor. But the fact of the matter is, even though I have a Series 65 right now, I'm probably not going to take your money and stick it in the market because it hasn't been worth it. I can use safer tools and make you more money, so I believe I'd be breaking my fiduciary responsibility to stick you into the stock market. So if you have to have it, you're welcome to consider working with Tony's company. That's fine. So financial vitality is the second one. We had financial, what was the first one called? Financial security, financial vitality, and then we have financial independence. Independence, that's nice. Financial independence is really how much would it take to maintain your current lifestyle? Just look at what you spent. It's shocking, but you can look at what you spent over the last 12 months by using mint.com or online QuickBooks or any of these different sort of companies that'll tally it all up for you, and you have a little heart attack and you go, holy cow, I didn't realize I spent that much. But you go, well, that's reality. And I'm going to make up a number. Say you spend $12,000 a month, $5,000, $12,000, $20,000, doesn't matter what you guys do. Say that's what you expend. You just multiply by 12, and that's how much income. If that much income was coming in on a guaranteed basis, and by the way, he does get into indexed annuities with income riders in this book. He does get into cash value life insurance for tax-free growth. He gets into all the same stuff that I teach, because the only possible thing that any honest person can discover when they go do the research in an unbiased way, the only thing you actually can discover is what's true. What's actually working. So surprise, surprise, that both Tony Robbins and I did that research and discovered the same thing. That, index annuities are the best for income, and that cash value life insurance creates tax-free growth with no losses, and that's absolutely amazing, right? So financial independence would be, if it costs you $12,000 a month to live the life that you love to live, then that times 12 is $144,000 a year. How much money would you need sitting in an account to kick off $144,000 a year for the rest of your life? Now, you guys know I kind of use the rule of 5%. It's probably better depending on your age, but 144 grand, I got my phone right now, divided by 0.05, $2.8 million. You don't need $1 billion. You don't need $10 million. You don't need to save up some ridiculous amount of money. With just $2.8 billion, there's some of you, I said billion, $2.8 million. Some of you could sell your house or your rental properties or your business today and have $2.8 million. I know that because I've talked to you. It's very common when you get this number whittled down and you really see how small it is for you to say, hold on a second, I could quit my job or sell my business or sell my rental properties right now and have that. And you don't have to quit your job or sell your business or sell your rental properties if you're enjoying it. But knowing that you've reached financial independence right now, that you won the game, that you're done, you're working because you want to, do you know what a difference that makes emotionally versus smacking the alarm clock and being like, oh, I don't want to go to work? No. If you don't want to go to work, stop. Don't work. Sell everything and retire. If you do want to keep working, either switch jobs or businesses and get into something you like, knowing that you have financial independence. You've already reached the amount of assets you need to give you the income you want, or just change your attitude and keep working the same job or the same business, knowing that you're there because you want to, not because you have to. And that self-talk, guys, I'm telling you, that self-talk is so important. I'm listening to some parenting materials from Byron Katie. If you guys don't know Byron Katie, Tony Robbins introduced me to her. Absolute genius. No one has had more of a positive effect on my life than Byron Katie, bar none. Go to thework.com or on Audible. I'm on my third time listening through her book because it's so life-changing. Her book, Loving What Is. Download the book on audible.com and just listen to it. No one has done more good for me than this lady. And one of the things, as I'm listening to her talk to parents, is, parents will say, I'm just so tired of having to take care of these kids' needs, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. And she questions them and says, is it true? Do you really have to take care of these kids? Do you have to feed them? Do you have to do this? Does someone have a gun to your head? What do you mean when you say, I have to do this? Is it true? Can you know 100% that it's true? What's your proof of truth? And what happens is everyone realizes, actually, I don't have to do any of this. I do it because I choose to. Nothing changes in your world if you have to feed your kids or you choose to. Nothing changes in your world if you have to wake them up for school or you choose to or you have to do this. Nothing changes in your responsibilities. But, folks, what changes inside your head when you say, I'm taking care of these kids, or I'm going to work, or I'm doing the dishes because I want to, because I choose to, because I like life better when I go to work. I like life better when I love my children. I like life better when I buy my girlfriend flowers. There is no have to. Nobody has to do anything. Your heart's not going to stop if you miss one of your, quote, responsibilities. It's a choice that you make. And I don't know why I'm off on this tangent. I'm a passionate guy. I love studying this stuff. It's not as much about money as some of the stuff I normally talk about, but look up Byron Katie and you will thank me. Byron Katie is a stinking genius. So number 4 would be financial freedom. So financial independence is when, if you were making $12,000 a month right now and someone came along and said, listen, I'll pay you $12,000 a month for the rest of your life, or you got an inheritance for $2.9 million, and my team invested it for you in, guaranteed income annuities or something like that, and you're set. You're done. You're financially independent for the rest of your life. Now, what is financial freedom? Financial freedom, according to Tony, would mean you're independent, of course. You have the same lifestyle you have now without working. You've got everything you have today, plus 2 or 3 significant luxuries that you want in your future, and you don't have to work to pay for any of them either. Something like a boat or an airplane or a vacation home or the ability to travel every month. Something. You just make it up. You're like, I want, season tickets to go see the Knicks or whatever, I want to see a concert every month. Just you make up 2 or 3 significant luxuries that most people wouldn't be able to afford, kind of lifestyles of the rich and famous. And all of the income that you have now, and that's his definition for financial freedom. And then there's absolute financial freedom, which is interesting. I'm going to read some stuff from the book for this absolute financial freedom. He says, what would it be like if you could do anything you wanted, anytime you wanted? How would it feel if you and your family never had to want for anything again? If you were able to give freely and live completely on your own terms, not anybody else's, and all without ever having to work or pay for it. The money you make while you sleep, your investment income would provide for your unlimited lifestyle, meaning no limit at all onto what you could buy. You don't have to own the jet to have the lifestyle. This is an important part of what he's teaching. You don't have to own the sports team to sit in the skybox. And you don't have to pay for the whole team to be an owner. You can be a partial owner and get all the privileges. And he actually, in the book, he goes into Magic Johnson owning part of, I can't remember what team it is, through the Guggenheim Group, which I actually know the Guggenheim Group because they bought a few of the insurance companies that I represent, Equitrust and possibly Security Benefit. There's a couple of insurance companies that Guggenheim bought, and Magic Johnson's a part of that. He's making a really good point here, which is together we're better. Like some of what I've heard rich people teach is you don't all have to own jet skis. You don't all have to own jets. You don't all have to own sports teams fully. You can own pieces of them, or with a couple of other families, you can own a vacation unit or a jet. Jetsmarter.com or some of these like sharing, where like there's fleets of jets and you kind of pay $50,000 a year to have 12 trips a year or whatever it is. Some of those things are actually very, very intelligent choices to build the dream lifestyle you have, because the full 100% ownership of something and the maintenance of it. I mean, I have Ian Grove on my team, who's I don't remember if he's a boat captain now or was and is getting his license again or what it is, but he knows a ton about boats. Basically, owning a boat, you always lose money. It's a losing prospect. It's a hobby, a really expensive hobby. So a lot of times you're better off renting yachts and things like that. But he goes into this a little bit. Imagine if you had the money to do anything you wanted when you wanted, and look how much less it costs than you think you need if you don't own everything, but you own pieces of things, a part of a sports team or a 1/12 of a condo in Big Bear or whatever it is. Another quote here: what makes most people just dreamers versus those who live the dream is that dreamers have never figured out the price of their dreams. And to wrap it up, a sentence he says over and over and over again: be the creator of your life, not just the manager of your circumstances. So these 5 steps, now he really encourages that you focus basically on the first 3, or your 3 to thrive, which is what he calls it: financial security, financial vitality, and financial independence. And I think I agree with that, because the goal, if you listen to my shows, is really get to the place where you've saved up enough money that when you purchase a paycheck, you buy that annuity income, it allows you to live the same lifestyle you've been living no matter what happens in the world. The market can go up, the market can go down, you can run out of money. And if you've purchased the right annuities, you still get paid the same income for the rest of your life, even though you have no assets, just like your Social Security check. Social Security, there's no account value for you. You can't borrow money from it. You can't take out a withdrawal. There's nothing there that your family's going to get when you die. You just get a paycheck. It is an annuity. A lot of the annuities we suggest, while you're, in the early years, you actually do have an account value, or you could borrow from it or take money, or if you die, your family gets it. But assuming nothing goes well and you run out of money, it's just like Social Security. It's just a paycheck for life. But that's awesome. Bad investments are incredible. Cars are terrible investments, and we love them. They make our lives incredible. So these first 3, financial security, financial vitality, and financial independence, are the 3 he suggests that you focus on, covering 65% of your expenses. Your mortgage, your utilities, your food, your transportation, and your insurance costs should be goal number 1. Actually use his app, or use a piece of paper, or you can go download his app on the App Store. Figure it out. I did it myself, and it was awesome. It was really enlightening. Go like, wait a minute, that's not very much money. I can do that. And then you head for vitality. You can't get to C without going through A and B. So all of your focus should be on what? C, your goal? No. All of your focus should be on get to A. And when you achieve it, all of your focus should be on get to B. And then all of your focus should be on get to C, because where focus is, what does it say? Where focus something, energy flows. Where focus goes, energy flows, I think is what he says. Financial security, financial vitality, and ultimately financial independence, where you can live the same lifestyle without ever having to work again. That's the goal of Renovating Retirement. I hope you guys like this. I think you people are the best.
Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett.
That's all, folks.